The next day, our main character finds himself in the library, where books literally fall on his head as if trying to drive an illiterate person away. He searches for clues about the third sin, treating them like hidden landmines, but the entire process gives him a headache. Evan reports that they successfully rescued the second child thanks to our main character's information about her location. Our main character asks if Evan makes sure to treat the child with extra care. Evan confirms this and explains that after rescuing her from the illegal slave market, they handle her very gently. Before he can finish speaking, someone kicks the library door open, sending both of them flying. The brute who enters turns out to be Tonio, the second son of Palacio County. He immediately starts bullying our main character, mocking him and asking how an illiterate person can even hold a book. Our main character remains completely unfazed, his bratty eyes calm and sharp. As Tonio increases the pressure and demands answers, our main character thinks about how annoying this man is. He wonders how the original Alan would deal with this situation. Fighting back feels like too much effort, so he chooses the easier path. He calmly says that since Tonio seems to want the library, he will leave. Tonio believes he has completely dominated him and steps on his head with a mocking smile. At that moment, a sharp knife flies through the air and embeds itself in the wall. Another brute enters and scolds them for being too loud. This newcomer is Leo Palacio, the first son of the county. As the two brothers begin arguing with each other, our main character quickly takes the chance to crawl away. He remembers that in the game, the Palacio County disappears soon after the first subquest, but he never realizes that their power and influence run this deep. In truth, these brothers are fighting over who will become the head of the family. The eldest controls the underworld as the king of prostitution, while the second runs a massive drug operation as the drug king. As the two idiots continue their fight, our main character realizes he cannot afford to get involved with either of them if he wants to keep his comfortable life. He crawls away without shame while his brothers are distracted, and Evan calmly follows him as if this is perfectly normal. Evan fixes his hair afterward, and our main character vows to live happily as a weak and incompetent bastard child. A short while later, Evan mentions that the second rescued child does not seem like a normal child either. As Evan looks at his lazy master, he cannot understand how someone like this knows about the illegal slave market and the secret bioexperiments happening throughout the kingdom. It makes him question everything he believes. Looking at this foolish master, Evan thinks about how hard it must be for him to endure his brothers, while our main character simply complains about feeling tired. Evan then asks why the second child is also sent to the orphanage. Our main character already knows the answer. This second child is far from ordinary. She exists on an entirely different level. Within the United Kingdom, which consists of several nations, the central nation is the Callian Kingdom. The second child rescued from the illegal slave market comes from there. This child, more accurately known as the second boss of psychedelia, is Diaz McCallion. After being sold into slavery and abused, Diaz eventually becomes one of the 5 great sins, the sin of sloth. He later brings ruin to the kingdom in horrifying ways. This part of the story shocks many players because psychedelia shows extreme cruelty through his route. Despite being called the sin of sloth, Diaz is actually very hardworking. He always repays debts and grudges several times over. That is why our main character strongly emphasizes to Evan that Diaz must be treated with absolute kindness. Just remembering the visuals of Diaz's battles makes our main character tremble even now. When Evan asks why the second child is sent to the orphanage, our main character calmly replies that the time is not right yet, maintaining his usual air of mystery. Evan simply nods, saying he expected that answer. He then asks whether the letter sent to Eudia this time is related to the second child. Our main character confirms it, but the story reveals what is really written in the letter. Instead of anything important, he is mostly venting to Eudia about how his older brothers keep bullying him. It is honestly ridiculous. He also tells her to look after the second child, claiming the child is not feeling well. In a way, he is not wrong. Diaz clearly needs time to rest and recover. At the orphanage, Diaz keeps to himself and hides his body, which is covered in wounds. Eudia approaches him and asks if he is broken. She wonders whether the Black Goat organization is responsible for his injuries, and even hearing that name makes Diaz react. In her yandere state, Yudia tells him that even if he is broken, he is still chosen. She congratulates him for being selected by the Blue Moon, which is the title she uses for our main character. It becomes clear that Yudia is forming an organization centered on our main character. She promises Diaz that if he stays loyal and follows their orders, he will get his chance at revenge. Hearing her words, something awakens inside Diaz. His magic, or perhaps the authority of sloth, similar to ReZero, begins to stir. With that settled, Yudia decides to write her first reply to our main character's letter, and for some reason, she is far too excited about it. Back at the estate, our main character remains buried in the library, still searching for clues about the third child. Suddenly, Evan bursts in and announces that they are in serious trouble. He reports that the second young master of the Palacio household is dead. Our main character expects this news, yet he is still shocked by how quickly it happens. The funeral takes place almost immediately, but what truly stuns everyone is the complete lack of grief. Even their father attends the funeral while bringing two prostitutes with him. Our main character is honestly speechless. Bringing drugs and women to your own son's funeral crosses a line. He always knows this family is twisted, but this goes far beyond what he expects. He quietly reflects that psychedelia truly belongs to the dark fantasy genre. As he thinks back, our main character realizes that Tonio's so-called accidental fall feels different from what he remembers in the game. In the original story, Leo cries desperately after killing his brother and screams that he has become the sole heir to Count Palacio. Now, however, Leo stands before the corpse with a smirk, as if mocking the idea of hiding his emotions. Even so, this is not our main character's concern. His focus remains on dealing with the five great sins. 1 year passes, and the successor issue is resolved when Leo fully takes over Tonio's drug operation. The county becomes much calmer as a result. During this time, Utia and our main character grow closer through frequent letter exchanges. He believes that maintaining contact with her will be useful in the future, and so he continues writing, carefully securing his path toward a peaceful and luxurious life. Utia fills him in on how the other children are doing, and this makes our main character smirk, knowing they are growing up well. She also sends him the monthly sponsorship list, which immediately catches his attention because it has grown much larger than before. He wonders why the numbers keep increasing. Evan, who is busy eating, comments that, while unusual, it is still a good thing. Evan then finally delivers the news our main character has been waiting for. The information they need has been found. The Information Guild even contacts them directly, which greatly relieves our main character. The news concerns the ancient book related to the third child. This means he can finally uncover another hidden landmine, filling him with joy. Everything feels calm and perfect, and he enjoys a peaceful evening. At the same time, far away at a drug distribution site called Margot, several of Leo's subordinates brag about how generous the eldest son of the Palacio family is. They praise him for always rewarding them well, which allows their drug organization to grow to several hundred members. They do not realize that this number is about to drop sharply. What they witness next is pure terror. Many of their comrades suddenly turn on themselves, screaming that they cannot control their bodies. It is as if invisible strings are controlling them, forcing them to take their own lives. The ones responsible for this massacre are none other than Utia and Diaz, our main character's children. Using his thread magic, Diaz wipes them out on his own. He then asks Utia if there is any real reason to kill people like this. Utia instead asks whether Diaz feels pity for them. Diaz answers that he does not, especially since these people exploit human lives to produce drugs. To him, this has nothing to do with his revenge. Utia then releases her magic and explains that this is necessary for their master's return. They are clearing the filth from the county so that when their master rises as the heir, everything will already be prepared. With a graceful smile, she asks how they could allow such a filthy place to exist for his arrival. Dees says that he understands, though it is unclear what he truly means. Utia treats their master like an absolute